Hello, you're listening to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, presented by Brandon Elliott. This show will be going over all aspects of real estate investing and is intended to educate, motivate, and prepare you to take action on your first or next real estate investment. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Thank you for listening and enjoy.
Welcome back, everyone, to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Brandon Elliott. I'm excited today. We got a legend in the game that he's been doing real estate for 10 plus years. Had, flipping, wholesaling, rental portfolio, about 25 units down to one, then trying to sell this last one. So we'll talk to him about that in just a moment, getting out of the game to really focus more on crypto and the bull market that we're in right now. Obviously, still a big believer in real estate, what it's done for him, his family, his finances. So he does plan to get back on in when the time is right in the next couple of years. But for right now, sees an incredible opportunity with the Bitcoin halving right now and all the bull market that we're really in right now. It's huge. It's a great opportunity. It's something that you're going to want to tune in, listen to, and definitely reach out to Dane afterwards. But Dane, what's happening, man? How we doing today? You're in Puerto Rico. Is it a beautiful day or what?
Dude, it's hard to beat Puerto Rico, man. Not only for the tax benefits, but the weather's great. And we're loving it out here, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, taxes alone, man. I could keep a smile on my face all day. So I love it. So talk to me, man. Anybody out there that doesn't know who you are, where you're from, what you're up to these days, do you mind just giving that 30,000 foot view, your background, your story?
Yeah, let's do it, man. So I grew up, in fact, a lot of your listeners might see themselves in my story. So I grew up in a family where an education, a safe job was a pretty big deal. And I really bought into the whole, that whole vision. And so I went, and I was scared to death of doing sales. I remember having a couple of sales jobs in college and hating them. And I thought to myself, if I can over-educate myself, I can educate my way out of needing to sell things. And so I did that. I went and got a master's degree and thought that I was going to be set, right? I had the keys to the kingdom because I'd educated myself in a way that I thought the money would flow and job opportunities would be everywhere. And it was a rude awakening when I graduated, how I was not, entitled to tons of money. I was not entitled to, easy jobs in the workforce. I was going to have to earn my stripes like anything. And man, I found myself a few years in corporate America having to kiss a whole lot of butts, and it was going to take a good decade before I could make a decent income. And so I took a step back and I said, where's the money at? I like the whole Grant Cardone thing is like, who's got my money, right?
Who's got my money? Come on.
Yep. I like that. And so, I thought to myself, where's the money at? I'm no genius, but I could follow the breadcrumbs. Yeah, exactly. And man, I started listening to podcasts. I started reading books, YouTube, all the traditional stuff. And real estate was a very common theme that kept coming up. And everybody would say, we should have this as part of your portfolio to retire. And I said, man, I'm not waiting till I'm almost dead to retire. If that's where the money's at, then let's go there now.
Yep.
And my credit and cash were low at the time. I wasn't in a great position. So I found this thing called wholesaling, probably like many people, where you don't have to have cash or credit to be able to go and make a few bucks. So I dove in, and I was the guy, I'm telling you, man, I was on lunch breaks, running out to fake bathroom breaks, taking calls from sellers at work, right?
Yeah.
Trying to make this dream happen. And one of the best things ever happened to me, I moved to a new job. I was there for about 4 months. They laid everybody off. There's about 100 of us at my branch. And I walked outside and I called my wife and I said, I'm getting laid off today. I think I'm just going to do this real estate thing full time. And God bless my wife. She's incredible. And she said, well, let it rip. Let's do it. And so I didn't. So for the next 6 months, I was grinding and trying to find deals that I could wholesale. And it got to a point where I had a nest egg, but I'd pretty well run out of that nest egg. I didn't have hardly any money left. And my wife said, you know what, Dane, I believe in you, but man, we've got to make some money. So you either need to get a job or you need to go and do some deals. And I said, you know what, you're not wrong.
Yeah, I love that. I love that support, man. That's awesome. She's like, hey, I support you. Let's run with this. And then after 6 months, it's like, all right, well, I still believe in you, but let's make some changes.
Let's make this happen. Right, exactly. So I told her, I said, you know, look, I'll go and apply for some jobs and we'll see what happens. I'll keep doing this real estate thing. And I don't know if you've had an experience like this, Brandon. I bet some of your listeners have, where I call them God experiences, where I would go and I would put my hands on the keyboard to go and apply for a job, and everything about it felt wrong. I'd take my hands off the keyboard, everything was fine. I put my hands back on and everything was wrong again. And it was just, I just didn't have it in me to go and apply for those jobs. And so I kneeled down on the ground this one night and I said, you know what, God, I feel like you've put me here. I feel like I'm in the right place. Yep. I feel like it's obvious, it's plain as day. I'm not supposed to go and apply for some job. I'm supposed to make this real estate thing happen. And I've been working, you know, like if this is going to work, then I need you to shake something loose because I'm here. I'm ready. Let's do this thing. And I made a commitment. I bought a list of what ought to be some distressed sellers. And I told God, I said, look, you know, I'm pretty well out of money, but I'm going to call this list over and over and over again if that's what it takes until I either make some money or we lose the house and cars to recollection and bankruptcy. That's how committed I am. Let's do this thing. And my wife didn't know I'd made that commitment. She might have left at that point. But man, within a couple of weeks, I'd found this gentleman that I signed a purchase agreement with to purchase his house, and had all the problems in the world, but I had to make that deal work. And so I saw it through. 45 days after that, I cashed a check for $70,000 on an assignment fee on that one deal. And that was as much money as I was supposed to make in corporate America the whole year that I was employed. It was crazy.
Right. Yeah.
Blew my mind. And so I was locked and loaded, man. That was remarkable.
I love that. Now, the first 6 months when you kind of went all in was, you know, you said there were some bumpy roads in there. Like, you know, you were making a little bit, but also the funds that you did have, were you not being a good steward of those funds at the time, or what, you know, were you tight on money at the time? What was it looking like? Or it was just it takes time to make a deal happen.
Right, it does. Right. So I'd done my best to set myself up. So we had a side business where we were breeding dogs, which we ended up turning into a full-time business after that, which was great.
Nice.
And then I had a little bit of a severance package for a few months that I got paid out as well since I was let go from my company. And so I had some time. But I tell you, I don't know if you've had this type of experience. The magic in my life really has happened, or at least some of the biggest wins, when my back was against the wall and I didn't have many other options but to succeed or crumble. And I'm going to choose to succeed every single time. It's within my power. God's got my back. I'm going to be fine. And so, you know, until the money had ran out, honestly, looking back, I felt like I was working and I was making all the right moves. But until I had to make it work, you know, that's when the magic really happened.
I love it, man. I love it. So that was quite a bit of time ago, right? So that was 10 plus years ago?
Almost a decade ago, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then what did real estate actually look like for you? Because you started jumping in, not just wholesaling, but fix and flips. You started building out a rental portfolio. Like, what did you get mentors? Like, did you build out a team? What did that look like?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think that pretty well everyone that gets into real estate gets there for the hope that one day you're making enough passive income you could sit on the beach somewhere while the money rolls in, right?
Yeah.
That's the hope.
Yeah.
But getting there is a lot more difficult than I think most people realize. Sure. And so, you know, I went, and you have to have fast money first. You have to, in order to be able to pay your bills and be able to buy rentals and do things like that. So I went and built a flipping and wholesale company. We were doing anywhere from $1 million to $1.5 million a year. And it was great. And we were a very lean team. I think at the height I had 7 employees, anywhere from 3 to 7 employees. I didn't like, you know, huge, massive deal flow. I liked smaller deal flow, but big, fat, juicy ones. And we'd go and knock it out of the park. So our average deal size was 40 to 50 grand on assignments and flips. And I really enjoyed that business model. So that was great, but it wasn't passive, right? Even with my team, things are mostly automated, but there was always another fire to put out. There always is as an entrepreneur, right?
Yes.
And so I was tired of putting out fires, and I said, well, then everyone says to go build a rental portfolio so you can make passive income. And so I said, let's try that. Let's do it. And I don't know. I never loved rental properties, but I found this cool thing called cost segregation studies where you could get all the bonus depreciation up front. And I was like, well, it was great, right? It was great.
Yeah.
And so I would just buy enough real estate where I could make it so I didn't have to pay taxes that year.
Yeah.
So like Q4, I'd buy myself a few units, and I'm like, I don't have to pay, and this is a way I'm stacking up real estate, rental properties, right?
Yep.
And that was great. I built that rental portfolio to 25 units or 25 doors. And I was sitting there one day, and 25 doors, I mean, I'll do the math for your listeners. It's very common, right? Call like $300 cash flow per door per month. That's a pretty many people throw that metric around.
Sure.
Well, I don't know how much money you need to live on a monthly basis, but let's say that it's, 10 grand. 10 grand is not a lot in today's environment, but let's say it's 10 grand, right? I mean, at $300 a door, what is that? You need 33, right? 33 units.
Yep.
Yeah, 33 units to make 10 grand a month. And that's without a tenant destroying a property. That's without them staying in there and you having a terrible time getting them out. That's with everything going fairly well. As soon as you have a tenant destroy a property, the cash flow, the net income you hope to get from that can be gone for years.
Yep.
And so I was like, man, this math doesn't add up very well. This is going to be difficult, right?
We just had a tenant that the water bill is normally $110 a month, and we pay it. And then left on all the damn, I don't know what happened, but literally got it up to $2,700 before the city is calling us saying, hey, I think something's wrong here. And I'm like, yeah, I'd say so.
I wish you would have called me when the price the bill had doubled. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Crazy though.
I was on the news. Not for a good reason. I sent my father-in-law, who was a plumber, I sent him over to one of my rental units. It's like stereotypical great deal, or many people would call us a great deal. I bought this deal on terms. So I think I put 10 grand down. The thing cash flowed. What did it? It cash flowed, I think it was $800 a month. So great deal, right? 10 grand down, you make $800 a month. You only need that to go for 8 months before you have all your money back.
Was that a single family house or?
That was a little duplex.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep, it's a little duplex, and I negotiated a great deal, or so I thought, and the seller didn't disclose some of the things that were wrong with the property, so it ended up being a ton more work than anticipated. And what I was on the news for, the tenants called me, said the hot water heater was out. And so I sent my father-in-law over to replace it. He said, Dane, then these are tiny units. They're literally 400 square foot units, 2 400 square foot units. He said, Dane, in this unit, there's got to be 20 people in here and they're living like roaches. And come to find out, they're dealing meth out of there. And so I'm like, okay, well, just fix it. The money's still coming in, the rent's still being paid. So
was it in the hood? Was it in the
Yeah.
Yep. I was going to say, normally cash flow that high, it's typically in the hood, but not always.
It's a hood house.
Yeah. Hood house.
Yes, exactly.
After you gave me the sign of meth, then I'm like, maybe it is in the hood.
Right.
Yeah.
So he calls me back 30 minutes later and he says, Dane, you might want to come down here. The police just showed up and they're kicking us all out. And I said, all right. So I go over, he's gone. There's 15 people on the curb, all handcuffed with their hands behind their back, DEA agents. Little did I know they had this sting that had been ongoing for 18 months. They crashed open the door. My property's destroyed, and I'm the one left holding the bag on what I thought was a great deal that I'd negotiated. But here I am with this property that at one time the cash flow was really good. Now I'm faced with a $60,000 bill to go and rehab this property, because not only do we need to rehab it, but we've got to clean it out and mitigate all the drug issues and contamination that's gone there and work through the city to do it. So poof,
that's unbelievable.
Cash flow for years gone in an instant. And I was on the news because the DEA sting was one of the biggest in that neighborhood in a long time.
Wow. You really got left with the bag instead
Yes.
of, at least it wasn't the meth bag. That is tough, man. That is tough. I can't believe it. They helped evict everybody for you though, really quick and easy, which can be nice. It just wasn't anticipated. So for learning curves on that, I would say probably just more due diligence on the tenants and maybe a walkthrough or something prior.
Yeah, for sure. More due diligence. And I would never buy hood houses again. I've owned a bunch of them. I've hated every single one that I've owned, even with the cash flow being great at times. It was never worth the headache in my experience.
Yep.
And so I would never own a hood house again. In fact, I would never own real estate again on the basis of owning it for cash flow. If you can get nice cash flow, I think that's a nice side benefit, but I would never buy real estate because I was specifically looking for cash flow. I'd much rather buy it for the tax benefits and for the appreciation. And that's the real reason to be buying real estate, in my opinion.
I've always looked at buy for cash flow and then appreciation's like icing on the cake. Definitely if you're in a tax bracket that you need, growing up at first, trying to get into real estate, I wouldn't need tax benefits at the time. I wasn't making anything, but eventually once I started making money, then I was like, hey, I really need some of this cost segregation studies to help out with taxes. But yeah, cash flow is what I kind of initially lived off of to get out of the restaurants and kind of that, stupid. I wasn't smart enough to go to corporate, so I was stuck in restaurants, but getting out of that helped me. But again, just like you, I found myself getting into hood houses at first because it was in my comfort zone of, hey, I grew up on Section 8. I can't wrap my head around the big prices around here, but I can around the $30,000 or $9,000 home in Ohio. You know, so because I've had crazy headaches, crazy stories of finding a homemade bomb next to one of my houses, guns tossed over the fence while they're running away from cops into my yard, or guns, pulled at my head when I'm like, trying to go, one of the tenants was like a tweaker. So what would you say, I guess, to get out of those situations? Just sell all, and or like, would you do some kind of seller financing to help out the tenants and get out of it, or just cut ties and keep it moving?
Sell that shit and move on. No, get out of that. Because seriously, like, as funny as the stories are, and I've done the same thing. I had a property that I went to go look at, and it was boarded up. The seller told me, he said, hey, if you want to look at it, just take a screw gun over there, unscrew the board from the front so you can go inside and look at it. I said, no problem. So I go over there. And in that area, I was
like, no problem. I got that. I could do that. I got a drill bit.
This isn't new to me. Yeah, exactly. But on those properties, like, I carry a gun. And so unscrewing the screws to take the board out, and I hear rumbling in there. So I take my pistol out and I say, look, I'm coming in this house. If you're in there, I'm giving you 30 seconds to leave. We'll have no problem. But get the fuck out of here, because if I come in there and you're in there and I feel threatened, I've got a gun and I'm going to have to use it.
Yeah.
Now, that's just how this is.
Yeah.
And thank God there was no one in there. Maybe as a cat or something. But I came to this realization. I'm like, but I don't have to do this. Like, I don't have to put myself in these positions where I'm faced with these different things by either A, buying better properties, or B, finding another stream of income that I could create that can help me buy better properties more quickly, which is why I do crypto now.
I love that. And you jumped into some credit techniques in the past to be able to help you get some properties and so forth by doing basically mass applies, fixing your credit first off, and then getting some funding. Are you using any of those techniques? You only did that for real estate, right? Nothing for crypto?
Yeah, and crypto is volatile enough. I would never tell anybody to go and stack a bunch of credit cards to buy crypto. That's not a recipe that I would recommend. So we've done it, but I've done it a lot I've built multiple businesses, and I've used credit card stacking a lot. So that's been incredibly helpful for cash flow, for running the business, for marketing expenses. In fact, I haven't had to pay for a lot of the trips our family has gone on because I've had enough rewards. And that's been awesome. So yeah, like you said, pretty much mass supplies, going out, getting everything squared away there, and then having the bandwidth that I needed. In fact, I got this was kind of a funny story. So I made some mistakes when I was early in my real estate investing career. Yeah. And so I had some dings on my credit that I needed to get resolved. I'd had a hard time resolving those because I didn't know what I didn't know, but I ended up finding a company that helped me. They got it cleaned up in like 45 days. It was miraculous. And I got a notice in the mail about a year ago saying there was a class action lawsuit against this company because apparently they'd done some nefarious things. I don't know what they'd done, but they got my credit clean, and I am forever grateful. So,
Oh, wow.
It's crazy out there, man.
Yeah. What was the company for that?
What was the guy's name? I don't even remember, to be honest with you.
Okay.
That was a few years ago, yeah.
But basically, you ended up getting a couple $100,000 in new funding, and you were able to utilize it for real estate marketing, kind of pumping up the business.
Yeah, running the business and paying for rehabs. I mean, that was great. I mean, running those things up and having 0% interest and getting the rewards. I mean,
Free flights now? Come on.
if I'd have known about that when I first started, it would have accelerated my growth so much more rapidly. Now, I also probably would have used funds more poorly because you just don't know what you don't know when you're early as an entrepreneur, right? So I don't think that I would go ham at first. I'd say like get your footing, but once you have some footing, man, some of those tools are incredibly powerful.
Yeah, I always look at it like, so many people don't realize it's not being taught in school, first off, right? So nobody knows about it. But at the end of the day, we give all of our money to the banks. They give us like nothing % back, right? And then they lend it back out to us 9 times over, making anywhere from 500 to 3,000%. It's crazy for the personal loans, auto loans, mortgages, credit cards, you name it. And so it's mind blowing to see what they're doing. We're giving them interest-free money, and they just know how to put it to work. So at Credit Counsel Elite, we've been flipping the script, teaching people how to do exactly the same, but actually be able to put it to work, just like what you've done. And it really does help out, but it does take, you got to be cautious. I want to show people how to get access to the funds, but not actually make mistakes, and don't go buy the $20,000 Gucci sweatshirt, ladies and gentlemen, buy assets that pay and make sure you have backup plans, because this is short-term funding. So I love that. Talk to me. What the heck are you doing in crypto now, man? It's crazy. You got rid of all the real estate, basically. You're deep diving into crypto. You've been in crypto for the last several years. 2017, you jumped into it. So you jumped in at a good time. Obviously, I'm sure you wish you jumped in a couple years earlier than that, like everybody, but...
Always, right? It's the same. It's the old adage, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the next best time is today, right?
Damn right. But so tell me, when it comes down, like, you're doing it for passive income, you want to teach people out there how to do exactly the same thing, financial literacy around crypto, tax benefits. You have about $500,000 right now in crypto, and you got a mastermind. You're teaching more people about it. Give me the highlights of what you're up to with crypto right now.
My whole thesis behind my life is I just want to live a life where I'm doing the best to follow the crumbs that God puts in my path. Like, that's it.
Yeah,
it's like
damn right.
Very simple, right?
Yeah.
And so I feel like he led me to real estate. And then, I started to get this itch and this feeling that it was time for change, that change was coming. And so I kind of sat back and I said, then let it come and just help me to play my part. And so, I was sitting there in my real estate office filling this, and I nailed the same thing as I did before. I just nailed down. I said, God, I feel like change is coming. I'm really grateful for this business that you've helped me to build this time around. If it's your will, I'd like to have a business where I could, or I'd like to have an opportunity where I can make way more money, I could have way more freedom, and I could have a lot, and things could be far easier. I don't want to deal with all the BS of the tenants and these crazy stories we get to all day, right? I want things to be easier. And so like, let your will be done. And then I found a cryptocurrency platform. In fact, I have a number of friends that have done incredibly well in cryptocurrency. I was treating it as more a side project and a hobby, and I was laser focused on real estate. I wish I had flipped those two things around. Yeah. But you don't know what you don't know until you get there.
That's right.
So I've made that flip now for this bull run, because gosh, you can turn a little bit of money into a whole lot of money in pretty short periods of time. In fact, I was digging into crypto more. Within a matter of 3 or 4 months, I was making $50,000 a month passively with no tenants, toilets, or trash. I was throwing off cash. And I was like, wow, this is way easier than flipping a house or wholesaling something or dealing with tenants. There's something here. and I'm going to figure this out one way or another. I was in. That was kind of like my sign that, hey, you're in the right place. Let's go ahead and head this direction for the time being. And I think, in fact, have you read any of Michael, what's his name?
I know who you're talking about.
Michael Singer's books?
Yeah, I haven't, but yeah.
Oh, man.
He's a crypto goddess basically out there, right?
No. So that's Michael Saylor is the Bitcoin guy.
Yeah.
Michael Singer is a kind of like a spiritualist, entrepreneur type of guy. He writes some books. So he has 2 books that I love. In fact, I wish if I could go back and start anew as an entrepreneur, these are the 2 books that I would read immediately. I would stop everything and read these 2 books. The first one is called The Untethered Soul, and the second one is called The Surrender Experiment. I like The Surrender Experiment better because it's more his principles in action, and he shows how he's done these things through his life. And essentially the premise is the idea that if rather than trying to force things to happen, that if we just align ourselves with the way that things are and go with the flow, follow the crumbs that God puts in front of you, that things will naturally happen to your benefit because you're aligned, you're in the flow of life, right? That's the idea.
The 2 books, Untethered Soul, and then the what experiment?
The Surrender Experiment.
Surrender.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
My 2 favorite books. Those are the best business books that anyone could read, in my opinion. It's a great starting point. And once again, with this being my premise, that I just want to follow the crumbs that God puts in my path, I felt like he'd given me a signal here that, hey, this is the next part of your journey. And so, so I've just been following along since, and it's been an incredible road where I have more freedom, I can make more money, and things are far easier than I had where I was dealing with real estate in the way that it was. And my intention is I just want to use the best vehicles to be able to grow my net worth and get more real world assets like real estate. And so cryptocurrency is the biggest opportunity to grow wealth over the next 12 to 18 months. There is nothing even close. There's nothing like it. And we want to lever that opportunity to go and buy more real estate. So I sold off my rental portfolio because I wanted to restructure how I did that. In fact, it's fun being an entrepreneur because you can learn parts that you like about a business and parts that you don't.
Yeah.
And I found that I do not like being the operator in real estate. I do not like being the deal finder, but I really like being the money in deals. I like partnering with the right people, and I like funding the deals and being a silent partner with the right people. And so that's how I'll structure my real estate moving forward. And so it gives me an opportunity to grow my wealth in crypto and kind of restart that. So I'm really excited for the next iteration. When it's time to take profits in crypto in 12 to 18 months, I'm telling you, I think I'll be able to go buy 10 to 100 times more properties than I had before pretty handily with just a few $100,000 in the market.
Yeah. And what kind of real estate would you buy at that point, do you think? I know that's a couple years away, but at that point you go for not necessarily cash flow, but appreciation and tax benefits, right?
Yeah, that's where my interest lies, because those are the 2 things that you can't control the appreciation, but you can control the asset class you buy, and you can control the tax benefits in relation to what the price point is that you're buying, right?
Sure.
And you can kind of control the cash flow, but there's some give or take there. And so my intention is to buy A and B type of assets. I know that multifamily and trailer parks and storage units have been the rage over the last, what's it been, 2 to 5 years. But it's tricky because, I would argue you want to go where there's opportunity. If everybody's already there, you have to ask yourself how much opportunity is still there. I'm not saying there's not. I think it's just a good thought exercise to be able to walk through. And I think it'll be really fascinating to see the real estate landscape in 18 more months to see where we're at. And I'll be able to make the decisions from there. There's probably some retail office space conversions in the future. Some of that type of stuff is probably where the next big leg of opportunity in real estate is, in my opinion.
I love it. And Dane, talk to me. When it comes down to crypto right now, somebody that has maybe a couple $100,000 to play around with, or 50 grand, whatever it may be, to take advantage of this bull market right now, but they may not be as savvy as you, or they didn't get started in 2017. Is there still a chance for them? What would you recommend for them to do over the next 18 months?
So there's some huge chances. Oh, enormous. And you don't even need a ton of money, to be able to really hit some of these winners. We've had multiple people that have turned a few $1,000s into 10, 20, 50, 100 grand in very short periods of time. And so I would put it this way. When you're in business, like real estate's a great example, right? If you do enough real estate deals, you're naturally going to hit some home runs from time to time. And those deals can literally be, you can do as much in one deal as you did the whole quarter because those deals are so big, right?
Yep.
And so cryptocurrency is the same thing where if you're doing enough of it, you're going to hit some huge winners, but you can do it in such a way where you're not having to spend tons of time. You're not having to do all this research, all the heavy lifting, if you just know how to use these things. So back to your question, we want to look and say, where's the opportunity? Where are things still undervalued, like real estate in 2009, 10, 11? Where can we buy those types of deals versus buying right now where they're far more expensive? Well, buying Bitcoin right now is like buying property right now. It's overvalued compared to 2010, 11, and 12. Everybody already knows about Bitcoin, but gosh, I want to go and buy things that are still undervalued, that are lesser known. I want to go and plug into those things. So my favorite blockchain right now, where I'm pretty well putting all of my capital, is called Pulse Chain. And because there's not many people talking about it, but all the fundamentals intact there are huge. So the biggest, most vocal community in all of crypto, I would argue, is in Pulse Chain. There is almost 500 different cryptocurrency platforms being built in that ecosystem. There are wallets are growing. The number of active wallets are growing every single day. There's huge passive income opportunities. And that's the place where my buddy Eric, he literally came into our mastermind within, I think it was 3 weeks. He got in and turned $3,000 into $350K. Like, that's not everywhere. So I would say in general, like, look for things that are still undervalued. Let me ask you this, Brandon. Do you tend to do better real estate deals on the MLS or off market?
Off market.
Off market always, right?
Almost all
100% of the time,
yeah.
Right? Cryptocurrency is the same way. So the on market deals are the cryptocurrencies you can go buy on Coinbase. Sure. Or on Binance, or on Crypto.com, Robinhood. That's buying stuff on market. By the time a cryptocurrency, it qualifies to get listed in those places, people like me bought it off market, if you will, 50, 100, 20x, way cheaper than by the time it gets listed there. And so that's what we teach our members of our mastermind, is how to take advantage of these, if you will, off-market deals, these off-market cryptocurrencies that are still undervalued. And I'm telling you, like, in just a few hours, people could get set up, they could place their bets. And then if they want, most of our guys are real estate guys, they place their bets in a few hours, they leave it alone, they're going to come back in 12 to 18 months, take profits and be done with it. You can do it in very little time.
And those are going to be more on altcoins, correct?
Altcoins are where the real action's at. If you want to make some money, altcoins are where it's at. If you want to, if you want to go double your money, go buy Bitcoin or Ethereum, right? Like, those are probably pretty reasonable places, but you're not going to get a 10x there. You're not going to get a 100x. And so based upon what you want, you can build a portfolio that can do, a lot of different things for you.
What about any pullbacks right now with the main, coins like Bitcoin, Ethereum? Do you think there's going to be some kind of pullback? And because it is a little overpriced at the moment, you may believe, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
you're right. You're 100% right. When we look at the crypto cycles, they typically, at least thus far, they've ran on 4-year time frames.
Sure.
And right now, we've just seen Bitcoin get to all-time highs, I think, a few weeks ago or so. So we've seen Bitcoin back to all-time highs before we got to the Bitcoin halving, which this is the first time that's ever happened.
Wow.
And I think that's because of the Bitcoin ETFs. Those guys have been buying it like crazy, but they're treating it like newbies to the crypto market. They're new. They just don't know how these things work and how. So you saw the big run up. This is very typical. You see the big run up into April, which was the Bitcoin halving. We're seeing the pullback right now. This is very natural and normal. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw, price kind of pull back some more. We see it kind of steady out here over the next couple of months. And then we see a pump in late summer, maybe fall, maybe even a little bit later into the year. And then a really parabolic run theoretically late this year and into 2025. So that's what I'm anticipating across the board. And man, dips are for buying. When we're in this time frame of the cycle, anything you like, dips are for buying. You should be looking at all that stuff, making your own financial decisions, whatever you want to get into, and letting it rip.
I love it. And then as far as, staking your coins, if there's an investor, more of a long-term type of investor that they want to jump in, they don't want to be navigating through it throughout the whole actively like some people do. Would you encourage people to stake their assets, basically their coins, so that they can try to put it to work and get some kind of return on it as well as it goes up?
That's a great question. I would say it depends, and it depends in a really big way. So you could go, when you say staking, I think most people that'll watch this are probably familiar, maybe on like Robinhood or Coinbase, they can go stake their Ethereum and earn some percentage points, or there's a lot of different things that you can do like that. Is that probably what you're referring to?
Yeah.
Okay. So those look like great opportunities. Here's the problem. And this is where Sam Bankman-Fried got a lot of people this last go around. Platforms like FTX, when things get the most dangerous to keep your funds on these different platforms, centralized exchanges, they offer the best rates of return so that people don't leave. So when you go on crypto.com, when you go on Robinhood, when you go on Coinbase, when you're using these big centralized exchanges, did you read the user agreement that you signed when you set up your account?
No.
None of us do. No one reads that. No. And unbeknownst to most people and I can't speak for all the platforms, but generally speaking, when you sign that, it says in there that, hey, they'll give you an account, but gosh, if they run a bad business and they go bankrupt and they declare bankruptcy, well, you're giving them the right to be able to seize all the assets that you bought, take those and sell them, pay off their creditors, and if there's anything left, well, you get the crumbs. That's the risk that you have there. And so my recommendation is everyone should be learning how to be their own bank. So think of it this way. You ever been to like Mexico before?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say I went to Mexico City with my wife a few years ago. We use that as an example. So go to Mexico City from the United States. I need to trade my dollars for pesos to transact over there, right?
Yep.
So really simply, I go to the airport. There's a money exchange there. I trade my dollars for pesos. And the key being I take my pesos with me when I leave. Yeah. Spend them however I'm going to spend them. The reason this is so pertinent to crypto is most people, they go to the money exchange, they go to Coinbase or whatever else, use Coinbase. They go to Coinbase to exchange their dollars for crypto, and then they leave the money there and they say, I hope you guys treat my money all right. And then carry significant risk. And so all you have to do is learn to take the extra additional step of putting your money in your own wallet and securing it properly, so that if one of those exchanges goes down, well, guess what? It doesn't hurt me. They can't steal my crypto because I don't keep it there. I take it with me. So staking is great. I think finding places where you can do it, where you're not going to be locked up for long periods of time, is critical, because a long-term hold in crypto should be a year to 18 months, in my opinion. And then otherwise, you should be looking to take profits. If you were in an asset class that predictably, at least thus far, every 4 years, it drops in price anywhere from 70 to 99%. There's no reason you should be a quote-unquote long-term person that's holding that for 10 years. You should be looking to sell roughly every 4 years. Yep. And so that's what we do. And I like things like staking. You just want to make sure you're using them responsibly and doing it the right way.
Love that. Yeah, such a great answer. Dane, you are a wealth of knowledge, my friend. I'm just so blessed to have you on here today, and for all the listeners, that they can be able to get the opportunity to tune into something like this and be able to take action on their own risk and their own due diligence, but to know about this opportunity that's right in front of them right now. It's game changing, and it's going to help out so many families. So really excited, very blessed to have you on here, man. How can people get a hold of you and be able to connect or learn more information about what you got going on?
Yeah, well, they can come over to our website. Our website is cryptocashflowsystems.com. You can pop over there and see what we're about. We'd love to share that information. In fact, we do a lot of free stuff. So if your listeners have a community, this is our message, is that most people are going to come and play the game of cryptocurrency this year as things heat up more and more and more and more. The problem is the more they heat up, the bigger the risk is that you're buying too high before the price pulls back. And if you have a community, I think you have a responsibility to help educate them about the timing of how this stuff works. So if you need help to educate your community, We do that all the time for free. We can build out stuff or give things away because we want to make sure that people understand how they can do this and do this well and actually make some money instead of losing it. So we do a lot of free stuff. You can connect with me on social media. That's Dane Bollwinkel, or you could find me Money Talk with Dane. You can find us. We do a YouTube show. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, anywhere, all the typical social media platforms. Come and connect. We'd love to help any way we could.
Love it. Awesome. Yeah, I highly recommend everyone reach out to Dane. He's a wealth of knowledge and can definitely point you in the right track. And it is a financial responsibility that you should definitely take it on yourself. If you have friends, family members, if you are investing yourself or looking to invest, do the due diligence. Really dive in, reach out. Like he said, a ton of free knowledge that you can geek out on, get the right information, get the right resources. And I'm glad
you say that, Brandon, because most people, like it's really funny when you go on YouTube and you're looking, you're trying to do due diligence in crypto. Everybody will end a video and they'll say, make sure you do your own due diligence. But most people have no idea what that means.
Yeah.
So we do the due diligence. If any of your listeners need help in understanding how to systematically do due diligence, feel free to reach out. We have a very specific system. In fact, as long as we've stuck to this system over the last 2 years, we haven't bought anything that's gone to zero or been a scam. Now, there's price volatility, but nothing that's gone to zero or been a scam. And that's incredibly rare. We'd be happy to share that with any of your listeners.
I love that. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, maybe we can throw that in the show notes as well for you guys. So I appreciate you jumping on. Guys, if you want to get a hold of me, you can always do so on Instagram. It is Brandon Elliott Investments. Also on Instagram, follow our new page. Check us out. We have amazing content for Credit Counsel Elite on Instagram as well. And if you haven't already subscribed to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, what are you waiting for? Do that right here, right now. So you get the newest notification every single Monday. After listening to a few episodes, leave that 5-star review. Greatly appreciate all love, all the support. Keep it coming. You guys are amazing. Share it out to others that need to see it. All geared towards educating, motivating, and preparing you to take action in real estate, as well as growing and scaling other businesses and diversifying your assets. So if you guys want to learn more about what we got going on at Credit Counsel Elite as well, look no further. Just go to our website, creditcounselelite.com. That's www.creditcounselelite.com. There's a quick 10-minute video on there that explains more about what the heck I'm talking about. And when I show a big stack of cards like this, like what that actually means to you and how you can get access to it. I'm talking $500,000 next 30 to 90 days at 0% interest. That's $2, $3, $4, even $500,000. You can get the information to get access to that. And then, afterwards, you have the opportunity to just book a call with me or my team to go over and just get a second opinion today, see what it looks like to work with us, hear about where you're at, what your goals are, and help you get there. So go to creditcounselelite.com today for that, and we will catch you on the next episode. Dane, appreciate you, brother. Till next time, guys. God bless.
This has been another episode of Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, brought to you by Brandon Elliott. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Also, please don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below. Thanks again for joining. Until next time, God bless.